Discover how much a living income is for rural central Malawi and how it could be achieved, with expert analyses by Levison Chiwaula and Mirriam Matita. Let's dive in.
We implemented this living income study in rural areas in Malawi with the focus of the tobacco growing regions. This is the case because tobacco is a very important crop in Malawi that generates up to 70% of export earnings, and it employs more than 200,000 individuals. Of course, despite its importance, national data shows that the tobacco growing regions are some of the poorest regions. So this study, the Living Income Benchmark study, was very important to guide the industry as well as the policymakers to find ways for improving people's living standards through farming.
In terms of the study findings, we estimated the living income for a reference family of 5 members, that's 2 adults and 3 children, and that is estimated at $240 per month, which is equivalent to 420,804 Malawi kwacha. Of this amount, about 58% of this living income is for food costs, which is $139. This estimate of living income is almost double the World Bank International Poverty Line, and it's more than 3 times the national poverty line. And since many households would fail to meet the national poverty line here in Malawi, it implies that more and more people will not be able to meet the basic or decent standard of living. We noted this. It was reflected in the difficulties that people face in accessing healthy diets, in accessing decent housing, quality education, but also healthcare. So for instance, on the housing part, we were not able to find houses that were within standards, and we ended up using data from Habitat for Humanity to do our estimates. It's important that policymakers, including tobacco companies and government organizations, consider implementing practices that are more sustainable in ensuring that they enhance productivity and equitable distribution of agricultural profits, such as fair pricing that allows farmers to afford a decent living. But also, in addition to that, there should be partnership that is closely aligned with national and global goals for sustainable development. So for instance, in Malawi, we have the Malawi 2063 that aims at creating wealth for all, which requires that we improve income for majority of the people that are involved in agriculture.
So we find this study to be very important, as we have indicated, considering the importance of tobacco companies and tobacco growing in Malawi and the region. We think it will help in terms of promoting fair trading contracts for tobacco growing regions. It can go beyond Malawi. So global buyers of even other crops can also use this living income benchmark, because although we implemented this in the tobacco growing regions, we also have other crops that are grown in this region and they are traded internationally, like groundnuts, soya beans. So it can also help to improve fair trading practices for those crops, make sure that we improve the welfare or the living standards of the people living in these regions. Generally, we will expect that policymakers will use these findings to facilitate contractual arrangements and partnerships that promote equitable distribution of agricultural profits in the tobacco value chain as well as other value chains. And it is also important for us to move towards attaining the living income to work on improving productivity of farms, so that incomes from agricultural value chains should improve. So apart from the prices that can come with fair contracts, we also need to look at the agricultural practices that should be the ones that should ensure that farmers are getting or they are increasing their productivity. It is necessary to address different components of decent living. In this case, education, food, housing, healthcare. These need to be targeted directly because these also help or they are part of the sustainable development goals.
To access the full report, visit our website at anchorresearchinstitute.org. Navigate to Estimates and Research. Select ARI, Country Index. Then choose the country of interest. And click on the desired update. Simply enter your email and download the report to explore more.